Hey guys, so today we have a mini tea full of little stories happening on all sorts of different platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, the whole lot. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, here it is, and then my Instagram and my puppy's Instagram will also be in description along with my beauty channel. So let's get into it. Oh, before we get into it, subscribe and hit that bell and like and comment for engagement because that's important. Next, Trisha. So in my last video, no, 2 videos before, I spoke about the fact that Jeffree Star allegedly cut off Hair by Jay, who, if you guys don't know, basically was bullying Trisha Paytas publicly, degrading her, you know, saying really awful, mean things about her. And he basically said all of that on Instagram live, and many people, you know, screen recorded it, showed it to Trisha. Trisha then had basically a breakdown publicly, just like on video, saying how she thought they were friends with her, but now they're not. And it was really like an awful time for her because of the way they treated her. She falls out with Shane, she falls out with Jeffree. Jeffree then publicly, to save face, says that he's essentially fired Hair by Jay. Since then, he has liked Hair by Jay's posts, he has refollowed Hair by Jay, and recently he had his hair done by Hair by Jay. Like, Hair by Jay reposted Jeffree Star in like that mint wig and basically was just like, hair done by me. So quite clearly this was all for show, but we all knew that. And Trisha speaks out on that, basically calls them both awful people. And yeah, she calls them out on Twitter. And then she calls them out on the Frenemies podcast as well, where they talk about this whole situation. And yeah, that's that. So I guess, you know, Jeffree Star's back to his old ways of, you know, lying and then getting caught out lying, but people still believe him and still are fans of him for some reason. The next one is Sienna. So Sienna is a TikToker who is 16, I believe, and she does a lot of like TikTok dances, that kind of a thing. She's like known as a super like body positive girl. Everyone knows that she's like super just pro being yourself and looking the way you want to look. Because of that, she recently released merch that says, "Did you eat today?" And a lot of people gave her shit for it because it's like making like money out of eating disorders. And she comes out with one statement on Instagram where she basically says that her intent behind this wasn't malicious. It was to basically just be like, this is what I say to people when I want to check up on them, that kind of thing. And people are not happy with that response. People are, you know, going hard on her, basically saying like, why are you glamorizing eating disorders? Why are you glamorizing people eating or not eating or whatever it is that they want to do? And she then clarifies again in another Instagram story saying that this was always supposed to be a charity launch, that she was always going to donate money to charities to do with eating disorders. And that's that on that. And then she actually, this came up on my For You page, she posted a TikTok apology. I'm going to play it now.
Hey guys, I've heard the messages from many of you and I'm deeply sorry for any offense caused. I'm young and I'm still navigating the world and this industry, and obviously I will not always get it right the first time. I care deeply about inclusivity and I strive to lead by example. That means listening. With that said, I have heard you and I have removed the merch. I will still be donating all of the proceeds of this line to Teen Line, which is a place that many teens can reach out for help. I care about you and thank you for speaking up. Be nice to someone today. We're all struggling with something.
Where she basically says the same thing that she said in her second Instagram post. Why did that just not come to my head? Where she basically says she's going to be donating all the proceeds towards a eating disorder charity. And yeah, that she's just very sorry for offending people. She never meant for that to come across as malicious. It's just something that she says to people just to check up on them and see how they're doing. You know, like, did you eat today? Have you drank water? How are you feeling? Like, just like checking up on people, making sure that they're on the right track to just being healthy mentally and physically, which as a 16-year-old, I think she's very aware. I know this merch launch wasn't very like good. I know people give her a lot of crap for it, but she is 16 and I can tell just by looking at her that she's trying her best. I can tell that this was not supposed to be malicious. This was supposed to be her trying to bring some positivity, trying to bring some awareness to, I guess, like, you know, eating healthily, eating regular meals, that kind of a thing. But to put that on the t-shirt kind of is giving me Corinna Kopf anxiety hoodie vibes that she creates. Do you guys remember when she did that like anxiety definition hoodie? Except for the Corinna situation, it gave me less good vibes. It was like, oh, you just think anxiety is quirky and cute. With Sienna, it just seems like with her whole thing being like being super positive about the way you look, I don't think she meant this in a malicious way. So I'm willing to give her like the benefit of the doubt that she just intended for it to come out completely different way. And she is only 16. Like, if I was to release merch at 16, I don't know what I would have put on it. So I just think if nothing like this happens again, I think Sienna's fine. She's never been in a scandal before. She's just, you know, doing her thing at the age of 16, and I think it's just a lot of eyes on her and she's bound to make some mistakes, and I think this was just like a mistake. I don't think it was supposed to be malicious intent to in any way mock people with eating disorders or anything like that. I just think it was an oversight, definitely. So I'm glad that she's donating and I'm hoping the next merch launch is much more successful. Next story, Nikita Dragun. Nikita. So other than having a birthday party that she got called out for, she was also being called out for blackfishing during her birthday party because her makeup looked a few shades too dark. But because she was being called out for social distancing, well, their lack of, people kind of didn't have time to call her out for the blackfishing as well. So it was like she kind of, that slipped through the cracks. But now it's back because she posted a few pictures on her Instagram stories, and oh my god, people are doing these like trends on TikTok where you take multiple pictures of Nikita and then you like color select her skin tone in all of them, and oh my god, that's a contour palette from light to deep. Oh my god, who lets her do this? Why aren't her friends telling her to not do this? I'm just so confused. If you're like her good friend, why wouldn't you say, oh my god, this is not a good idea? Please go back to your regular skin tone. Maybe one up, maybe one down, maybe two up, maybe two down. But sometimes it just seems like she could buy a whole foundation range. Like the way they drop it, the way she just buys it. Like, can some of her friends please check up on her and say, please, like, don't do this again. Please not. No, don't do this again. David Dobrik. So he recently had like this lottery thing where you basically buy a $30 QR code puzzle, that like a jigsaw puzzle that you're supposed to put together, and then you scan it on his app and it basically shows you what you want. And one person is supposed to win $100,000, and there's going to be like a bunch of people that win 25 cents, so you're basically losing a bunch of money. The odds of this game aren't very good, and I'm noticing a lot of people are winning 25 cents. No one so far has won 100k, and now there have been a few TikToks coming out and saying like everyone has the same QR code, everyone is winning 25 cents, no one has won 100k yet. Now hear me out, the jigsaw puzzle sold out, so like there has to be a person out there that is going to win the 100k, and I'm assuming if you bought this jigsaw puzzle, you're going to do it like the moment it comes to your house because you're going to be like excited to win some money potentially. So where is this 100k person? Also, he has very young fans, and this is essentially gambling, and he called it gambling himself because he had some questions about the fact that this isn't international, like why can't people in other countries buy this? And he said it's to do with gambling laws, he can't sell it overseas. So this is gambling, but he's got a really young fan base. He's basically just promoting gambling to young children. We gotta start them young. I know David Dobrik's in a lot of heat now. I really do enjoy his videos. I think he seems really funny and like cool in his vlogs, but there is a lot coming out about him. And I know Spill Sesh has covered it last year and she's covering it this year, so I think the video's already out about David Dobrik, I'm pretty sure. There is, you know, the stuff with Trisha, him mistreating Seth, him mistreating Big Nick, him mistreating just like a bunch of people that are just coming in and out of his friendship group. Trisha talks about how like traumatized she was after being in that group. Seth talks about how he essentially felt like the token black friend, and how he felt like he was the black friend you have so that you can make jokes about black people without getting in trouble. And then Seth basically is just like embarrassed about it now, looking back on it, that he let him do that, or that he, you know, allowed that to happen, even though it's not his fault at all. I feel like you get so much peer pressure because David's this like celebrity that you're like, oh my god, like I can't like say no, I can't upset him. And then obviously the stuff with Jason kissing him even though he thought he was kissing Corinna, which is, oh my god, if the roles were reversed and like the genders were reversed, this would be a lot bigger than it is now. And then obviously with Nick, he also spoke about how uncomfortable he was with the kind of jokes that were being made about him, and he wasn't necessarily uncomfortable when David was making the jokes, but it enabled his fan base to also make those jokes, and they would like walk up to him on the street and make jokes about his height, which that definitely crosses the line. And as much as like, yes, David isn't responsible for his fan base, but also I feel like with the kind of ease that those jokes came out at, it just enables your fan base to do the same because they think it's okay, because his fan base is really young. So everyone kind of spoke about how like uncomfortable that friendship group is, and if the moment you say I'm not comfortable with the joke, you're out. There are multiple H3 podcasts about this, there are some Frenemies podcasts about this, and like I said, I think Spill Sesh covered this last year and this year as well, so it's a lot of stuff that he's being called out for right now. Next, Willy Wonka. Didn't think we were talking about Willy Wonka today. So Willy Wonka is, why do I keep on saying Willy Wonka? Willy Wonka is a TikToker who basically got famous for dressing up as Willy Wonka. That's it, guys, that's it. He's on like almost 20 million followers. Why couldn't I just dress up as Willy Wonka? Like, why didn't I think to do that? I don't know. And he's recently been called out for being mean to his fans. There is like a girl who has been a huge fan of him from the beginning. She basically created an account on TikTok where she would do stuff to get his attention, like dress up as Willy Wonka as well, and do like lots of fun stuff on her TikTok to try and get noticed. The way many fans do, I feel like you constantly have people creating like fan pages or tweeting at their favorite YouTubers, you know, just trying to get attention, trying to get that validation from their favorite creator. And that's literally just like what happens, because there is that like parasocial relationship there where the fan just wants to know that their favorite like YouTuber knows they exist. Like I feel like that's just like a thing that happens. I used to really want Zoella to think of me and know that I exist. When I was like 12, I was like, Zoella, please know that I exist. And yeah, like there are so many YouTubers and I'm like, oh my god, how cool would it be to meet them? Like, you know, everyone's got that thing. And Willy Wonka basically reported her account and then called her annoying and said that she begs for him to notice her and it's just annoying. I was like, you know that saying, if you've got nothing good to say, like nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Yeah, we should have stuck with that one. We should have stuck with saying nothing. Because when your fan is doing basically nothing wrong, just trying to get your attention, you can just ignore them. If it bothers you so much, you can just pretend you didn't see it. I mean, you're on almost 20 million followers. If you had just not said anything, it would have just seemed like you didn't notice. Oh my god, oops, I didn't notice. But instead, you decided to open your mouth and speak. Why? Why do men just decide to speak? It's just like, I don't understand why he would say that. You're basically just saying like, I find my fans annoying. If I was your fan, I would have unfollowed you. Like, what do you mean she's annoying because she's begging me to notice her? Yeah, because she's a huge fan of you. Are you kidding me? What? The ungratefulness that comes from some of these TikTokers is baffling to me. So there are some TikTokers who you can like genuinely tell they really care about their fans. They love their like, what's it called? Like the relationship they have with them. They love communicating with them. Then there are some TikTokers where like at my big age of 21 almost, I can kind of tell that they don't actually care, but they know it's good to care. Like it's a good look to pretend that you care, so they do. And I feel like if they have a really young fan base, the young fan base doesn't like notice that they actually don't care. They're just like vaguely replying to the fan. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Right, okay. I mean, besides the point, whether you care or you pretend to care, at least you're responding to your fans in a respectful manner. And then there's Willy Wonka, who just decided to do that. As if you couldn't just pretend to care. All this acting like Willy Wonka, like you literally pretend to be Willy Wonka for a living and you couldn't pretend to care about your fans. I don't know why this one annoyed me so much. I'm just like, you were lucky enough to put on that costume and get 20 million followers. Pretend you care. Just make that your 9 to 5. Make pretending to care your 9 to 5. Then we have Not a Content House rebranding. So last time I talked about Not a Content House, which was like a content house. It was like a TikTok content house with a bunch of girls in it. Basically that they were falling apart kind of because of the management. So they were firing their management. They felt like they were being used and taken advantage of for money basically. And they also said that they don't really know what to do with Not a Content House because they want to stick together and they want to be friends and they want to continue creating content together, but they just feel uncomfortable using the Not a Content House name because of everything they went through under that name. So they're changing the house to Just a House. That's the title. And actually I saw that account pop up for me in like recommended on TikTok when you follow one person and it pops up. So I was like, oh, what's that? And then I clicked on it and then I watched a few videos and turns out Just a House is supposed to be Not a Content House rebranded. So the girls are sticking together. I'm not sure if it's just going to be like a few of them, like the ones that were in the podcast talking about it. I don't know if they're going to like bring on more people. I don't know what the deal is, but it's going to be Just a House. So if you're a fan of the girls, then it's Just a House. The next thing is people are once again speculating whether Chase and Charlie are dating. So everyone, like Addison, Bryce, all the rest of the couples were basically celebrating Valentine's Day together and posting about it and posting pictures together and videos together and all of that cute stuff. And then Charlie and Chase didn't post anything because they're allegedly single. So people are like, oh my god, are they not posting because they're together? And then they saw Chase, I think, posted a picture from like a flower shop buying flowers. And then I think they saw Chase in Charlie's house, like taking pictures in Charlie's house. So people are wondering if they're back together. I'm not going to speculate on a relationship of a 16-year-old because that makes me feel icky. But I know that's a lot, like their fans are really obsessed with that relationship. So stay tuned for that. Maybe there's a reason why they're not telling people that they're together. Maybe they just want to keep it a secret for now. I don't know. But I'm not going to speculate on the relationship of a 16-year-old. But a lot of people are speculating because I guess they want them back together. That's the situation. Vinnie is a TikToker who has a large female fan base, and whenever he's seen with a girl TikToker, or any girl as a matter of fact, the girl gets a bunch of hate from his fans, which is bonkers to me. Why are we doing that? Why are we getting involved in this young man's personal life? This young man's relationships, none of the internet's business, even if he shows it. We don't need to do all of that. We don't need to do it. I get it. I used to also be a 12-year-old obsessed with boys in fanboys. What? I used to also be a 12-year-old obsessed with boys in boy bands, and I felt like I was going to marry them, but the chances of that happening are 1 in a million. So how about we let this young adult find himself a nice girlfriend without bullying him? There was a situation with him and a few girls where either his fans really haven't got the girl for daring to look in his direction, or they really wanted to get with a girl because I guess they want to like make the fan edits and stuff like that. They're like, oh, you would look good in a fan edit. So then I feel like if the relationships don't work out, because when you have like millions of eyes staring at a relationship, it tends to, you know, the pressure gets to you, I guess. So that's happening. But also, he's accused of supporting Trump because he was seen in like pictures with a girl called Samantha, who was called out for being like a big Trump supporter, and he basically said that he wasn't with her, so he's, I guess, not a Trump supporter. He basically said on Twitter, like, I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm never going to be a Trump supporter. That's that on that. So I guess he's not a Trump supporter, if that, you know, something that you take into consideration whenever you follow someone. He's in the clear, I guess, for now. And the last one is Gabbie Hanna. So Gabbie Hanna has a podcast called Burnout, which I think is a good name for a podcast. That's actually really good. And she invited the one and only Trisha Paytas, and they spoke about their own drama. Gabbie apologized to her for the like herpes thing, and then actually it was going really well. Like they were really nice to each other. It was kind of fake nice. It was like that voice you put on whenever you go on a call. You're like, oh my god, hi. Like, you know, when you're talking to like customer service. That voice. They were doing that voice the whole podcast, and then oh my god, they get into an argument at the end. They get into an argument over like feminism, because Gabbie is basically just like upset at how Hollywood looks at women over the age of 30, how they're basically just like used commodity and they're not good for anything. And whenever someone does YouTube at the age of 30, whenever it's a woman, they're like, oh my god, why are you still doing YouTube, you old person. It's kind of how people spoke about Tati, it's how people speak about Trisha, it's how people speak about Gabbie, like, oh, aren't you too old for this? Aren't you at your big age? I do this sometimes, but sometimes it's because there are some adults doing some foolish things, just some dumb stuff, and I'm like, really? At your age? But then again, it's like, you can make mistakes at any age, so like, who am I to talk? But yeah, so she's basically just saying like she doesn't agree with it, and she thinks it starts with the influencers to tell kind of like the younger audience that age does not matter, you can do anything and achieve anything at any age, which I think is a very positive message. But Trisha basically goes, yeah, I'm old, and they can say I'm old. I don't care. So they basically had two very different opinions. I think Gabbie was getting very heated and very like emotional about this, and Trisha was just like, I don't care. Like, people can talk about me, call me old, I don't care, call me fat, I don't care. And Gabbie was like, but why would we let them? And it was like a whole argument. It got really awkward for a minute. I was like, we could cut the tension in the air with a knife. Yeah, it was bad. That happened, but I'm glad that they're sorting it out, and I'm glad Gabbie's kind of like in a good spot. The episode got emotional a few times, so I was like, oh, this is an interesting episode. I feel like I got to learn a lot of things, and it did get a bit awkward and embarrassing for a minute, but that's fine. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, and subscribe to post videos every time something happens. Hit that bell, you'll be notified when that's happening. Social media links, any other links in the description, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.